Shalom. It is your boy, Not So Frog. I got a job now, and I've been working pretty hard for the past 2 weeks. So even though I have some plans on stuff to do, you'll see that coming up. I might make some kind of video of me making shit and stuff like that. Anyways, though, I'm just going to take a break for today. And I got this. I ordered this on Amazon. This is called a Caldwell Ballistic Precision Chronograph. And what this does is allows you to measure projectile velocity. Using this measurement, you can find out a couple of factors that go into the performance of the launcher that you've made, in my case, or the gun that you're using if you like to buy guns and stuff like that. I don't own any guns, but or even bows. Some people use it for bows as well. It's important more to compound shooters. For traditional archers, it doesn't matter as much because, you know, arrows don't go very fast out of recurve bows. They probably max out at about 210 FPS. They usually stay generally lower. And for compound archers, though, however, some arrows can go past 300 FPS, which is a whole lot faster, and therefore a lot of measurements are needed to make sure everything is as they want, as there's a lot more variables in a compound bow. Anyways, there are two measurements available with this system. You have feet per second, which is how many feet the bullet travels in 1 second, and then you have meters per second, which is how many meters the bullet travels in 1 second. Imperial metric and all that, I actually prefer feet per second, even though I live in Canada and we use, you know, metric and everything. So, I don't know. There's just this weird sort of amalgamation of imperial versus metric all over Canada, and it's really disgusting, but whatever, that's how you grow up, so. The first thing we're going to be shooting today is this spring pistol. It's a piece of shit. It's absolutely terrible. I had to do so much work just to get it to function, because the trigger would not hold, the slide would tend to like literally rack itself apart. The mag itself is held in through the tension provided through the hand grip, which is none at all, so I had to fix that with a rubber band. But I did all that, and then I also upgraded the internals, and I also suppressed everything. So there's mostly just like a little boom shot, and I'm gonna see how fast this is shooting. But actually, one sec, I'm gonna go grab my cowboy hat, because if we're shooting shit, I gotta be a fucking cowboy. I'll be right back.
Little high, little low.
For a pistol that originally never worked at all, I managed to fix it up quite well, and it's shooting with 20 gram BBs just around 100 feet per second, which is pretty good considering the size of the power plant that we're working with here. Next up is my limited edition KWC Colt Delta Elite 1911. Quite the mouthful it is. It's actually quite powerful, and even on its a spring pistol, it manages to shoot some 20 grams out to about and around an average of 200 feet per second. With the intense hop-up that KWC pistols have, it can actually push 28 grams out to past 40 yards, which is really quite interesting. After that comes my Red Ryder, which I've done a couple modifications to, including shimming the spring for more power. I've also increased the internal diameter of the air tube for more airflow, and I've also taken off the ratcheting lever for the main cocking lever for a smoother action. However, after all that, it still only seems to be shooting at around 180 feet per second, which is a little bit disappointing, but at least it works nicely. Next up is the old stone bow I made, or some may call it the bullet crossbow. It works quite well, and it's decently accurate, and it seems to be throwing a 5/16 steel ball at around an average of 160 feet per second, with very, very little variation, which I like. It seems very promising for my future endeavors, however, it does not seem to have enough speed in it to take out any game, so I'll leave it just to shooting at boxes, I guess, but mostly just a proof of concept of my ideas. It works quite well, though. Next up is my old airsoft bow. I personally consider this to be a failed project, honestly. It's prohibitively large for something that shoots tiny little airsoft BBs, and it also lacks any power at all, really. In the end, it's weaker than the airsoft crossbow, but probably 3 times as large, and it's so inaccurate that I could only get really one chronograph reading out of it, which was just 124 feet per second, which is faster than one of my spring pistols, but really not that fast in the long run. Of the more powerful things that I own, I have my Ernie Root Fieldmaster, which, despite being made in 1956, is still shooting quite well to this day. With a 500 grain arrow and 40 pounds at, I believe, 28-inch draw, it managed to shoot around an average of 140 feet per second, which is pretty good considering the Dacron string and the suppressors that are on it. Next up is my air cannon, shooting a 68 caliber marble. It managed to break the law completely, going 150 feet per second over the actual velocity limit, So I had to shorten the barrel to bring down that velocity back below 500 feet per second, making it legal to shoot and use in Canada, and saved me a lot of time in jail, which I really do not want at all, because, like, fuck that. Next is me shooting a water bottle in my air cannon. It launched the chronograph at around 75 feet per second after obliterating my shoulder, and then it rolled nearly 60 yards down the field, which is pretty fun to watch. Next up is my spring-powered airsoft shotgun, which hasn't been working for about a year, but I decided to fix it up just to see what it would shoot at. It seems to shoot at around an average of 70 feet per second, which is actually quite nice considering that all I'm using is about a 25-pound compression spring.
68. Okay. 66. 67. Well, it's very consistent, that's for sure. Well, the wind's doing its own thing. Once again, I don't know what the hell goes on. I'm also a cyclist, and tell you I fucking hate the wind. It's pretty goddamn awful. But anyways, I'll clean this up because I'm done for the day. The sun's gone down a little bit, and there's not much sunlight to really get a good recording from the chronograph. So we'll just call it a day. Everything performed pretty much as I expected. I did not really expect anything to go over 200 feet per second, except for the air cannon, and that's pretty much correct. Nothing really broke that barrier at all. Everything is about 30 to 20 feet per second below that barrier, so that's okay. In my future builds, I'd like to aim for a goal of 300 to 400 feet per second, as the limit for projectile velocity in Canada is 500 feet per second. After that, you need a positions and acquisitions license and all that bullshit. I don't want to deal with that. And yeah, in the future, I plan to make mechanically operated projectile apparatus, whatever. What do you want to call it? Mechanically actuated projectile. I don't know. Patent speak. Anyways, I'd like to do stuff without the aid of compressed air or gunpowder and all that, just for a couple of reasons. Usually just for portability, cost, and stealthiness. That's the thing for me. Not really stealthiness, but I just like being quiet to not really disrupt anything. I don't like loud guns because it makes all the neighbors' dogs bark and makes everybody worried if you're shooting around, and you can't shoot it inside the house at all. So I like to have really quiet things. But anyways, I suppose that's it for today. I hope you like seeing me chronographing pretty much everything I've made up until now. For those wondering, hey, where's the airsoft crossbow? That was the first thing you ever made. I couldn't chronograph it because the string literally broke in half. I guess it was just getting rubbed on too much. But it was pretty low. I'd say it was about the same, on par with the airsoft bow itself, if not maybe 20 feet per second faster. So I put it 120 to 130 feet per second. With the 20 gram, I'd say. With the 12 grams, the velocity didn't actually increase much due to just the thing with transferring force and bows and stuff like that. A lighter arrow isn't always better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I have some videos coming up that are mostly like actual processes of me building stuff, so that might be interesting if they work out. I tried to do that before and it didn't work out at all. The video footage got corrupted because there was too much, but I will try again and see if I can do it. And for today, I guess I'll clean this up, and that's about it, really. Thanks for watching. I hope you're interested in the actual velocity of everything I made, and in the future videos I'll just chronograph it as I make it. So that's the plan, and I'll see you in later videos then. Bye bye.